Storm season hits and your business is slammed. Calls are flooding in, your team is stretched thin, and the storm chasers are swooping in to steal your clients. It's a mess and you feel like you're losing control. Every delay costs you money and reputation. Homeowners are frustrated, competitors are closing deals faster, and your team simply just can't keep up with the sheer volume of inspections. You're left scrambling while opportunities slip through your fingers. Does that sound familiar? That's why we created the StormSupport Program, a dedicated team of professionals who act as an extension of your business. We handle the overwhelming inspection volume after a storm so you can focus on what matters, closing deals and taking care of your clients. Whether it's organizing priority inspections or managing storm chasers on your behalf, we're here to make sure no opportunity is left on the table. Let me show you how it works. So, our one mission is we want to increase the adoption of drones into roofing. We already have programs that use drones for lead generation, ladder assist program for steep roofs. We also have reinspection documentation, and we also have a program that essentially does the client nurturing on behalf of our roofing partners. However, we have avoided using our drones for initial inspections because we can't respond fast enough, which leads to missed out sales for our roofing partners. So most of the time, hiring us in that capacity just doesn't make sense. However, there is one major exception where we can make an impact in a big way that actually makes really good financial sense for the roofing companies that we partner with. This is in my own hometown of Oklahoma City. On September 24th, we got absolutely nailed by some very large hail. So as you can see by the pictures, it was very substantial. 106,000 houses were impacted with 1.75-inch hail or larger. It hit the metro of Oklahoma City. So what ended up happening is a lot of the roofing partners in Oklahoma City were going around trying to get additional manning to essentially handle the increase in volume that they're having. This one was on September 24th. We're looking for folks to help with inspections and claims in Oklahoma City. We already have 10 inspections requested. Right here, another one. So if you know someone who needs extra money, this is the perfect time to jump into roofing. We're hiring. Another one, 23 inspections since Wednesday, 16 inspections scheduled. Reach out and get a calendar before it gets too backed up. The point here is that when a storm does hit, people get really overwhelmed and they're just unable to handle the volume. And when you do that, it allows for people like this. So you have the hit and run roofing right there. And essentially they're going to come out here from out of state and go through the areas and just wipe out all those houses. And a lot of time they're unlicensed, uninsured, unprofessional. And many times they actually don't have the homeowner's best interest at heart, which is what we're seeing on the bottom left portion here, where we had an actual scam artist contact our company to join us. So what did we do? We went out there on the streets and we're actually helping out the local roofing companies and providing free documentation for homeowners so that they were able to have the information they needed. Now, the thing is though, we were thinking about this. Why don't we chase storms ourselves to help out the local roofers in those different areas? Is that even feasible? We actually got contacted by a company who wanted us to build a program that did exactly this. So they're a multi-state roofing company, and they want us to do rapid assessments of their properties after storms. And the thought process is, let's go ahead and offer it to others as well, since we already have the infrastructure. So what is the goal here? We want to help roofers manage the overwhelming inspection volume that they're going to get after a storm. All right. And this program ensures that roofers can scale efficiently and maintain quality service for their clients. So it allows them to scale and provide that really good service for their clients. And those two things don't always necessarily make sense because if they're going out there recruiting, they're not able to train them as well. And so basically you're going to have to hire whoever you can off the street and then just try to do damage control as you move. But with our system, we already have trained people who can go out there and essentially act as an extension of your existing roofing company. So what does this do? It allows our partners to gather information to focus their efforts on revenue generating leads before the window is closed and it becomes too late. Because as we know, when a storm does come through, it's tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. That time is dropping down, things become stale. So where are we covering? This was all last year, and any hail event that was 1.5 inches or higher, we went ahead and mapped. So as you can see, most of the eastern part of the US has a ton of potential, but really focusing on this core region right here in the center, this is where we are focusing our efforts. So this is our area that we're really focusing on, and we are essentially building up a team that's able to respond anywhere in this area. So how are we doing it? Well, we already have hundreds of drone pilots with pre-approved quality of drones we work with and who can handle their local markets. So these are drone pilots who we've already been using, and these are pilots we can call upon when their local areas do get hit. Now, we also have several people who have already agreed to travel all storm season if it makes financial sense and ensure that we have enough coverage. So basically, we have several people who basically are going to live out of their vehicles and travel as far as they need to handle this volume and make sure that we are able to cover and take care of everybody. Now, to ensure we don't overwhelm ourselves, we are only offering a limited number of pre-booked slots per city, all right? So this is almost like an insurance thing. We want to make sure we don't have a ton in one specific area that we're unable to handle and provide that really good service. So instead, we're spreading it out so we're not ever going to be overwhelmed because a certain area got hit and we can't handle it. So we're essentially just scattering it all over the place with a lower amount so we don't overexpose ourselves. And the other thing is as well is whenever we go out there and we start getting these pre-booked slots, it will let us know what areas actually do have consistent demand so we can go out there and recruit additional pilots and plan accordingly. Now, our team at Blue Falcon Operations, we are handling the coordination and delivery for the pilots. So all you have to do is coordinate through us, and we will essentially manage this operation and make sure everything is done correctly, as well as provide you with the final results. We also have a partnership with roofhawk.ai, and that is to ensure the data that we're providing is actionable and produces results. It's a phenomenal software. If you've not used it, it's great. I'm going to show you some examples later down this video. Like I'm actually wearing their hat today. So let's talk about the deliverables. What are we actually giving to you if you go ahead and use our program? Well, let's start with this. As you can see, both of these are knives, right? Both of these are cars. Both of these are drones, okay, in the same capacity. So just like two knives are different, two cars are different, two drones are different. So we use the one on the right, and then a lot of the other roofers are using one similar to the one on the left. So I tried a drone and it sucked. This is what our resolution we can get with our drone. No, this is not an iPhone photo. This is actually a drone that we were able to capture this with. Okay, same thing here. The resolution and clarity wasn't good enough. I don't know about y'all, but if I can read the patent numbers on this vent, then I think probably going to be sufficient, right? And this is why we can get such good results, because our drones are absolutely not cheap. So the one on the left is a $20 drone. The other one is a $6,200 drone, all right? So the drones that we typically use are around $3,000 on average, okay? So you get a better drone, you're going to get better results, okay? This is a great example right here of what you're going to get. So on the left-hand side, this is the drone that we typically use, the Mavic 3 series of drones, and you can see all the granular details. You can clearly annotate any sort of hail or any indentions that are on there. Now on the right, this is actually the drone that most roofers use. This is the Mini 4 Pro at a very similar distance, similar weather conditions, and you can see it's extremely grainy and very pixelated, so you can't actually see those minor details. When you have a roofer that says drones don't work, well, your drone doesn't work, but that doesn't mean that ours doesn't. And I did a full video on this. It has 18,000 views, and it does a feature on the Mavic 3 series of drone. So definitely check that out if you're curious. But it is a phenomenal video where we just break down the whole system and show how great these platforms are. And this is the drone that a vast majority of our pilots use. So what drone photos do we capture? Okay, we capture what you need to do a quality pre-assessment of that home. So front of the house, a top down, shingle close-up, damage-prone areas such as the vents, the ridges, any sort of peripherals. And that's basically what we're producing when it comes to the drone photos, okay? It's a fairly quick profile, and not nearly as extensive as our Falcon Care or our Ladder Assist, because those ones actually include a panorama, mapping, and solar assessment, but this really isn't necessary for a pre-qualification, which is all we're doing for this particular program. So it reduces our photo count from 500 to 800 photos to under 100 photos for this program, which makes this a lot more scalable and to where you only get what you need for that pre-assessment. And then obviously we can come back in the back end and get additional photos. But this is what we need to make sure we're efficient and we're quick and we can get you that data very, very fast. So obviously the more photos we have that are really high quality, the longer it takes to get to us, the longer it takes to actually download and get it all processed and send it back to you. So quick and easy and to the point. So this is an example of some of the photos you're going to be receiving. This was after the September 24th storm. As you can very clearly see all the individual hail indentations. You can also see on this vent very clear, and this vent as well. I mean, you can see this is absolutely destroyed. So you don't have to do a really in-depth view to see this roof is absolutely destroyed, right? Now, the other thing we do is we also generate a roofhawk.ai damage report, and this report is phenomenal. It is a third-party software that there's no way to modify the tolerances, and is trained off of data from insurance adjusters, okay? So ultimately, the results it generates is pretty dang good, but the most important thing is there's no way to modify the results. And so whatever it outputs is what it outputs, and that's all there is to it. So there's no sliding scale or something like that, which I think is really great, and it seems to have more weight for insurance. So this is what the report looks like. You're gonna get the individual hail strikes at the top of those 8 boxes. You're also going to see on the top left-hand corner, this is going to be where the drone is actually positioned as it captured that shot. And then, of course, you also have the large wide-angle lens that captures as much as the roof as possible. And you're going to have all those granular details. And the Roof Hawk report is going to go in there and actually mark any sort of anomalies that it thinks is consistent with hail damage. So this is another example of what that looks like. And you can see it just goes in and it circles it, and it does a pretty dang good job. But the most important thing is, even if the results are not phenomenal, I'll be very frank here, homeowners freaking love it. They love these Roof Hawk reports and they love the drone photos. If you have a Roof Hawk report and a drone photo, your close rate should go up substantially, all right? I don't necessarily have direct data on that, but man, I have so many anecdotal things that showcase that homeowners really do love it when you can provide these extra results. So each one of these pre-qualifications that we do, you're going to get the drone photos and you're going to get the Roof Hawk report. So the other thing is as well, is these drone photos and Roof Hawk absolutely do help you in the claims process. Okay, there's no doubt about this. We have done many different times. This absolutely works. And I have a roofing company in Oklahoma City. He tells me that whenever he's dealing with Allstate or State Farm, he will contact us. We'll go out there and fly for him because it shows them that he means business and he has a lot higher chance of the actual claims getting approved. So you're going to get this along with it so you can help out the claims process, right? So what do you get and when? Well, this is what we're doing. Within 48 hours of activation, we will be in market. Now, likely it's going to be a lot sooner, but I would rather under-promise and over-deliver than the other way around. So within 48 hours, we will be in the market and we'll be getting to work and helping you out, right? Now, once we actually capture the data, everything is delivered to you within 24 hours of the flight, okay? Within 24 hours of us flying that house, you will get all the results. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get your drone photos. You're going to get your Roof Hawk report. You're also going to get a general statement of condition so that you can pre-qualify and prioritize without having to put boots on the ground, okay? Now, we are dependent on weather condition, homeowner access, and airspace. So like, obviously, if it's near a military installation or right next to a large airport, we can't fly until we get approval, which obviously takes time. However, typically, we're able to recognize that very early in the process, and we can essentially tell you, hey, this is not going to happen for these reasons. And weather condition and homeowner access, there are many ways to mitigate that. So why us? All right. Why are we qualified to even be involved in this conversation? Well, number one, we actually focus, okay? And our focus is on the roofing industry, okay? We're a drone service provider, but we solely focus on roofing and nothing else, okay? Why? Because we know there is massive opportunity in the risk reduction, and it also increases the efficiency for those roofing companies we work with. So you're able to have less risk and be a lot more efficient and get more houses done and ultimately generate more revenue. Okay. So we are very, very early on the adoption curve. Okay. The amount of roofing companies who are actually using good drones is very low. And the ones who are using a good drone are not nearly using it as effectively or as much as they should be. So we're very early in the adoption curve. We like this industry. This is where we think we have a lot of potential. So that's why we're here and why we're super qualified to help you guys in the roofing sphere. So we also built and instruct for the drone program at Francis Tuttle Institute of Technology in Oklahoma City. There's 4 different campuses, and we have an absolute state-of-the-art cutting-edge drone program where we are teaching the next generation of drone pilots. So yeah, we definitely are on the cutting edge and we know how to do this. We also worked with surveyors and engineers and architects using LiDAR. And that's really what our specialty used to be back in the day until we transitioned over to the roofing industry. So if we can use LiDAR, which is known for being extremely precise, and we can work with surveyors and engineers and doing critical infrastructure and things like that, I'm pretty sure we can find some hail on some roofs, okay? So here's us at the Oklahoma State Capitol talking to legislators. This is my team right here. We also were the keynote speakers back in March for the Oklahoma Pipeliners Association. This is a 3D model we generated of a roof here in Oklahoma City. This is a very large school and we generated a full 3D model of it. This is a thermal capture, so we do thermal as well. This is a report we generated for that school. This is a hotel we did. And yeah, so obviously we are on the cutting edge and we definitely know how to do these different things. We are also a team of 5 Army veterans, which I think is a really cool thing, and it really goes to showcase that we do have a lot of character and a lot of integrity, and we know what it takes to get stuff done, right? So these are my soldiers down at Fort Hood. This is us at JRTC. This was me in Iraq. This is in Guantanamo Bay back in 2015. This is me in Kuwait, my last deployment in 2018. We handled the customs operation for Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, as well as Kuwait. My job over there was the NCOIC of the Sterilot and wash rack. I essentially coordinated and managed the transfer of billions of dollars of equipment from overseas back to the US. And then on another part of the deployment, I was in charge of the PAX terminal, in which case I managed the clearance of 30,000 DoD civilians, contractors, and military service members to get transported back home. So if you were deployed overseas from 2017 to 2018, you very likely met me. So obviously we're very qualified in that part. We also are a part of ORCA, the Oklahoma Roofing Contra Association, BBB, BNI. We do a lot of STEM events. We're on the board of directors for the Kiwanis Club. We also support the Down Syndrome Association for Central Oklahoma. We've also been on the news 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the last 3 months. So we're very much respecting the community and we're very involved in local outreach. We've also worked with dozens of different roofing companies. We have hundreds of pilots. We've done thousands of inspections. So yeah, the whole point here is I just want to make it very clear. We are absolutely qualified and able to help you in whatever sort of issues or operations that you need here. So we're very qualified, guys. So how can you use this? That's the next thing, obviously. So step by step, before the storm hits, what needs to happen? Number 1 is you got to fill out our form in the description of this video. Okay, there's a form on there. You fill it out. It's really easy. And it basically lets us know what we need to know to essentially push you through and start getting this thing moving. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we need to know how many slots in each city do you want? We will reserve them for 48 hours. Okay, so basically every slot only has a certain number, and you can reserve those slots. Send over a contract. You pay the pre-booking fee for each slot. All right. So before January 1st, which is in 2 days, it's $60 per pre-booking fee. However, starting on January 1, it's increasing to $100. Why do you think that is? Well, we're giving a ton of value and we started it really low just to test the market demand. We got no resistance to our pricing. So obviously it's time to increase it until we get some resistance. So we're going to continue increasing until we hit some sort of a wall, but you can lock in that $60 pre-booking fee, but only until, next 2 days. That's all you got. So I'm expecting this going to continue increasing as we get more slots filled. but that's basically what that looks like. So before the storm actually hits. Now, this is an example of a pre-booking, okay? Let's say you want 10 slots in Dallas and 5 in Houston. And yes, your company can reserve as many as you want. If you want to book all 50 slots in a single city and lock out all your competitors, totally fine. I don't have an issue with it at all right? So let's say you want 10 in Dallas and 5 in Houston, okay? The 15 pre-booking fees, so either 1,500 or a little bit less than after paying the 60. And then when a storm hits for Dallas, you have 10 available priority captures in Dallas, okay? What that means is that you're first in line, okay? All you pay is the activation rate of $100, and that is consistent and will not change. The pre-booking prices will change, but the $100 activation will stay static. And what you do is you pay the activation rate of $100 for each one of want to activate, and you're ready to redeem it, okay? Now, if you want more than what you actually prepaid for, you can, but you're going to be paying market rate, which is probably going to be higher. And you're only going to be able to do that after the pre-booked appointments have already been allocated to pilots, okay? So the priority ones are going to get first. And then after those have been satisfied, then we'll open it up to a market rate, in which case then you can purchase more, but it's going to be after the pre-booked appointment slots have already been allocated. Now, if you do have some slots in Houston, you can move them over and use them there, but only if there are available unfilled slots in the area that you're trying to get to. So for instance, if Dallas only has 45 slots filled and there's 5 that are available and you want to take your 5 and move it to Dallas, we will allow that. However, we will not go higher than that initial pre-booking amount until those have been satisfied, okay? So ultimately, we want to make sure that the people who are preparing ahead of time and pre-booking are going to get priority over anybody else after the fact, all right? Now, when a storm hits, okay, you can contact us directly, or we will reach out to you and let you know that other roofers are activating your market, okay? If we have a roofer who decides to activate it, we're going to let all the other roofers in that market also know, hey, we have been activated in your market. If you want to go ahead and use us, you're welcome to, okay? And then you will let us know how many you want to activate. So pilots will only be dispatched after the activation invoice has been paid, okay? So you say, hey, I want to activate 10 slots. We'll send you an invoice for $1,000. You pay the $1,000, then we dispatch pilots. That's what that looks like, okay? Only get on the pre-booking, like the reserve status, once you've paid that invoice, and you will only get pilots dispatched after you've paid the activation invoice, all right? And you will give us the addresses that you want us to capture, okay? We can also parse your CRM and compare with our own storm tracker to let you know if there are possible candidates. We will need the contact information for the addresses you want us to go to, okay? Our pilots have to coordinate that with the homeowner, and we can't just show up unannounced because whole ton of issues with people not knowing their roofs can be flown by us, right? The best practice here is that you should reach out ahead of time and just to let the homeowner know that we'll be contacting them, and also get permission, obviously, right? So we're representing your company and we do it the best we can. However, our drone pilots are not sales guys. They're not roofers. We don't answer questions, etc. Like they're not roofers, which honestly is probably a good thing. However, it is best practice for you to reach out ahead of time and just let them know that, hey, our pilots will be contacting them, and they can essentially set that foundation for your future conversations with that homeowner. So after that's been done, our pilots will coordinate with the homeowner. The pilots capture the data and send the information to us here in Oklahoma City. We will generate the report and deliver it to you within 24 hours of the inspection, okay? So they capture the data, they send it to us, we generate the report, and we deliver you the photos, the report, and also the summarized findings within 24 hours of the inspection. And you have priority access to pre-book the same slots for 1 week after activation. Okay, so once you activate your slots, you have 1 week to essentially prepay for the next time, or we'll go back to the open market and we'll essentially find someone else to fill those slots, okay? And that's what that looks like. So how can you use this? What are some clear examples? So those are the first one, okay? Example 1, we handle your existing previous clients, okay? I think they're both really powerful, but this one I think is the cleanest to me. And I think this is useful for every roofing company, no matter who you are, all right? So you already have information of your past clients, okay? So ultimately, we will contact your past clients and make sure that they're given quality and expedited services. Okay. Basically, you either tell us which ones you want us to go to, or you give us the list. We'll parse that information with the storms, figure out which ones are potentially impacted, let you know, and you can go down that list and say, I want you to contact this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Right. Okay. Both of those are totally fine, but this will allow you to focus your attention on generating new business. Okay. And the reason why is because in these storms, the first person who contacts someone is usually the ones who ends up getting the business. All right. And so when you're not having to go through your own list and contact and go out and re-inspecting, etc., you can instead have us do that essentially busy work, right? And you can go out there and do your own canvassing, go to networking groups, whatever you got to do to generate new business outside of the ones that we're taking care of. And since these customers have already worked with you in the past, and we're going to give them really good service, etc., they'll be much more likely to be patient compared to people who don't know you, right? So if we go out there, generate the roof arc report, do the drone flights, etc., and they know that they are being taken care of by you, they're more willing to be patient while you go out there and essentially canvas before those storm chasers and other guys get to that market and start really just saturating it. So, and then it's the other cool thing here as well is you're just paying us a flat rate, right? We don't get commission. And if these are people that you already know, that you don't have to actually have a sales team out there, et cetera, you can close it yourself, which means ultimately it's more money in your pocket. So you don't compensate us except for the flat rate. We don't care about commission. We don't care about any sort of like post-installation revenue. We simply want that initial flat payment and then we go away. So that I think makes a ton of sense. And this is where I think is going to be very valuable to every roofing company, no matter what. Now, the second example is more targeted for ones who actually have a canvassing team and do canvassing. And this is what it's going to look like. So basically, we tag along behind your canvas team. All right. And we actually have already done this and it did work pretty damn well. Okay. So basically what happens in this situation is your team goes out there and knocks on doors and gets permission to fly. Okay. They don't have to be doing the inspection part of it. All they have to do is have the gall to go up there, knock on those doors, get that permission, and then go to the next one. And then our team will follow behind you and fly those roofs so that the door knockers can continue to knock more doors and get more permission. All right. Now, you're only going to get on the roofs of those who are worth your time. And you're going to know who's worth your time because you already have the drone photos. You already have the roof arc report. You already have all that information to make the decision on who you're going to filter out or how you're going to prioritize, etc. So it allows you to knock on a lot more doors. And just like before, we're a flat rate. So again, more money in your pocket because we're not taking a piece of the revenue on the back end, right? So, and this is the math, and this is what I just think it makes a ton of sense. So for the math, 50 inspections is what we're looking for per market, and that's at $200 each, $100 for the pre-book, $100 for activation. Now, obviously, if you do it in the next 2 days, you can get it for $60 pre-book and $100 activation. But the point is, you're looking at around $10,000 for 50 more inspections. And remember, these inspections are happening when you actually are needing them the most. This is critical game time, right? And you can look at your close rate and tell me that if you had an extra 50 more inspections in a hail impacted area that just came through, etc., and you tell me you can't generate an additional $10,000 from 50 more inspections, like, I don't know. I think this math is phenomenal. And honestly, I think that even though we've increased it from 160 to 200 total, I still think we are way too cheap and I'm expecting it to go up, but the market's going to dictate and we'll see how things go. But ultimately though, I mean, I think 10,000 for 50 more inspections is a damn good deal. And I've seen roofing companies blow money on a lot stupider shit than this. So here you go. What are the next steps, right? So basically there's two things here. Either you're ready to sign up or you're not convinced. If you're ready to sign up, click on the link in the description and fill out the form. Okay, that's really it. We'll contact you. We'll get you taken care of. We'll also go through and find out what areas still have availability near you. And right now, we do have pretty good availability. I know Dallas is almost filled up. However, most of our other markets have a lot of availability. We've only released this about 72 hours ago. So this is still a very new public release. and we already have Dallas almost full. So goes to show on what this process is looking like. And if you're still not convinced, there's a frequently asked question video coming soon. And if it's released, it will be placed into this little box I put right there. The video of the Falcon Care is going to go there right now. So if you have any questions, like always, let me know. Fill something out in the comments, but I'm looking forward to working with you guys.